Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Stock Market की बात MJ के साथ. My apologies, friends. Today had a challenging time. Had a short circuit, I think. So the circuit got tripped, and that's where the program has started almost 17 minutes late. Thank God I'm an electrical engineer. I could find out the fault at least to start with. All right. So before we get into your question answers, what we would do is we would again look at the market. And the market seems to be in a uptrend, but again, the crude oil or some or other events are pulling it down, right? And that's visible, right? But overall, if you see, the structure is bullish, and upward move is quite possible from here. Let me share some of the points. If you give me a few minutes, as my few of the things are still opening up. Few files are still opening up. You'll have to give me a few minutes before I take up your questions. Give me a minute. Give me one more minute, friends, right? So that I can give you some facts and you can, take your journey in stock market to the right stocks in a very right manner, right? So my apologies for today's delay. Again, technical glitch came up. Now that's resolved. And yeah, so good evening, Pramod. Perfect. So while as the market is giving you all kind of dodges, you could see that. Let me share the image here, right? So let's look at what's driving this market. Yeah, what's driving is this in what are the driving forces in this market are one. On the upside, you would see excellent corporate results. Q3 had been wonderful, and Q4 results would start coming in from the next week onwards, and you would see they are estimated to be very well. So market is all time gung ho about it. Definitely, that's what market is welcoming. On the other side, we also have a record high collection of GST, right? So March, our collection is 1.42 lakh crores, so that's all-time high. Apart from that, the advanced corporate tax collection, right, in Q4, that's 9.45 lakh crore. That's also a huge number. And obviously, if the corporates are paying advanced tax very high, that means they are doing good business, right? And that's what the market wants, because market participants are these companies only, right? So that's another good news, which is taking the market up. Apart from that, direct tax collection till March, earlier it was 13.63, but now the final figure has come, which is around 14.09 lakh crore. So that's again a huge number. So anytime a tax collection, direct or indirect, is definitely a win-win situation for the government and the corporates as well, right? So that's again a point which is driving the market on the upside. What more is driving the market upside is the growing economy, right? Irrespective of whatever circumstances, be it a war-like situation in some country or the COVID, again and again, you might be seeing, some or other way you are getting news of COVID. So that, leave that apart. What market is looking at, these events are happening for months and years altogether. Market is looking at economical growth, economy opening up. So that's what is happening. New unicorns coming up, fundraising happening for IPOs. You might see, we had soya, Ruchi Soya, right? Ruchi Soya, it even in the first day, it got more than 40% of rise in its stock price, right? So that was another way of looking at the fund collections, right? So that's another positive aspect. More or less, if you see the first week of April, the FIs turned out to be net buyer. So that was another encouraging thing which you could see from these green candles in the chart, right? And of course, more or less the governments are stable, although some or other kind of issues are being created by the media, but then more or less the governments are stable. That's what the market is expecting and welcoming, right? Now, what is not in the favor of the market is obviously rising crude price due to Russian-Ukraine war, right? Now, the crude has come down from 130, but still it is hovering between 100 and 110. One day it goes 108, 109, 110, and then it comes to 100, and then on an average, I think Friday closing was $104.5 per barrel. So that's very high cost, or rather that creates a physical deficit for Indian economy, right? So that's not in our favor. Otherwise, if the oil price comes down to $70 or so, then definitely market you would see a 10 to 15% rise in the market state. Of course, U.S. Monetary policy still is tightening its hands on cash flow. So that's a negative aspect for the market. Apart from that, rising commodity prices, fear of inflation, again, that is also a negative for the market. So when you are one of the active players in the market, you should be looking at what's happening in the market, why the market is going left or right, up or down, right? So at this point of time, if you look at this chart, you would see this part is a consolidation, right? On the lower side, you could see the market is finding its downside at somewhere around 17,550, 600, and on the upper side, it's touching 18,000, 100 or 200. That's where the market is hovering, right? So you would find, let's say, 17,500 to 18,000, 18,200 is the range in which you would see, market would be consolidating before it takes a upper move. Now, what can a trader do during these times? What can a trader do during these times is he can always look for selling the options and collecting the premiums like insurance, right? That's one way of making money for the traders in the market. What can investors do? Whenever the market is coming on the lower side of 17,500, you can have you can pick up your fundamentally good stocks and start building your portfolio. Those of you who are expecting market to go down to down may not be feasible at this point of time. Technically, also it has already filled up the novice gaps, which it generally market has tendency, right? So this up move was because of SDFC Bank and SDFC Limited. Again, SDFC Bank and SDFC Bank Limited have also filled up their novice gap, as well as Nifty and Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty is still to fill up that gap, but Nifty has already filled that gap. So that shows the technical aspect. It is technically also market is strengthening here at this point of time. Fundamentally, of course, what market depends on is the good corporate results and profitability, which is happening, right? So these are the factors, friend. You should keep an eye on the market and these events. Or now we had a RBI policy on Friday. So as expected, it was a non-event, and we were expecting no change in the repo rate or reverse repo rate or interest rates. So it remains the same. Okay, but RBI stance was more of a accommodative. That is again a positive for the market, or you can say neutral, but not definitely in a negative zone. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. Let me start taking your questions. Raju Chetriji, good evening. View on Havels for coming week. Havels, let me open the chart. So this chart is slightly delaying in the opening. Let me see if I can take up the line chart and at least give you a rough idea. I think Okay, it's not taking the. I think this chart is not picking up. Let me see. Okay, that's Havells in term of industry P. It's already expensive, although the other parameters seem to be supporting the high price of Havells India, right? It's excellent electrical switchgear manufacturing company. ROC and ROE are excellent. Interest coverage is excellent. Although the sales growth in last 5 years has only been to 6.6%, but profit growth is more or less 12%, right? 10-year data again, sales growth is only 6%, while as the profit growth has been happening year after year, and even 10-year average sales growth is almost 12.6. So that way it seems to be positively charged. However, at this point of time, it's already expensive, right? So it's trading at what time? Almost 15 times of its book value. It's already trading at, right? Now, if you see from the technical perspective, let me go to this chart here. Technically, it has corrected well, right? And it is trading about 50 days as well as 200 days moving average, right? So if you take a position here, your first target is somewhere around 1392. Second target could be your 1500 के आसपास में you would have your second target, right? Let me see. Yeah. So at this point of time, it sounds to be, although I can't see the candlesticks here, it's just a line chart, but seems to be okay in chart. So these are the targets where it could be hitting. Yes, in case if it goes up, the market has also to contribute to it. It cannot go, the prices cannot go up in isolation, right? The prices are coupled with the overall market. You can say Nifty or Bank Nifty or Sensex, whichever is representing your stock. Let's say if you're looking at price of ICICI Bank, and we are saying we are looking at the targets of ICICI Bank, but if the Bank Nifty doesn't move up, that means the more or less those 12 banks which drive the Bank Nifty, right? So it's a coupled effect. So whenever I'm talking about the target friends, you need to be looking from that perspective. Terms and conditions apply, right? So that's the target for your levels. Let me see. Pramod Jain is asking about Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra. Let me see if I can open the chart from here for Tech Mahindra. Charts are not opening from investing.com. It seems the US market is closed and these people are also slowed down. Maybe party time for investing.com. Right. See what happens in absence of candlestick, it becomes a little sluggish to see whether it has already turned bullish or it's bearish based upon these indicators, right? Indicators, oscillators, patterns, everything we can see in a candlestick chart, while as otherwise it becomes really, really difficult to look at it. Yeah. So Tech Mahindra, you can take a long trade for the target of 1750 and 1850. So it's in bullish mode, no issues. The only thing is always watch out. Nowadays the IT stocks have already been overpriced, so you need to watch out whether your Nasdaq is moving in positive direction or not. Because in US, if the tech stocks start falling, that also impacts our stocks, right? Let me see first source. First source. Where it is? First source is a single word. All right. So again, IT solution company, right, belonging to Mr. Goenka. Financial services, banking, healthcare, media. communication. Okay, so verticals are well defined. Stock P is undervalued for sure. ROC, RO is all right, not very good for this kind of company. It should be having better ROC and ROE. Operating profit margins are quite poor, it's just 15%. Again, with respect to its a price, it's in the over price territory. Okay. But if you want to technically trade this, again, right now it's in the grip of bears. You can trade it above 160. Right now the price is 135. If it crosses 155, let's say, yeah, above than 155, I would suggest you to take a long position for the price of 180, for 180, 200, and then the next target could be, or 220, I think, 220. Next target could be 220. Right now, first source, what are the promoter stakes and what are the patterns here? DIs have increased, FIs are stable, public has decreased. Sounds to be all right shareholding pattern, stable pattern lag raha hai. So बाकी का the sales figure and profit figures you should always look at if you are looking at taking positions. What is happening now? Q4 results would start coming from this week onwards, so they will definitely impact the prices. What I would suggest, check out इसका जो फोर्थ क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट का डेट क्या है, उसके बाद शायद ये 155 के ऊपर जाता है, 160 के ऊपर जाता है, तो देन यू कैन टेक अ लॉन्ग पोजीशन. विकास रखोंडे is asking, लो कैपिटल में ऑप्शन ट्रेड की स्ट्राइक प्राइस कैसे चूज करते हैं? All right. So you see, if you want to trade in options, so what you need to first understand is what are the strikes, what are the premiums of those strikes, right? And what is the probability of those premiums increasing in case if you are thinking of buying the option? If you are selling the option, then you should look at what is the probability of that option premium reducing, right? So let us say from this option chain, okay, if you see the Nifty is at what price? Nifty is at 17,784. Now 17,784 is close to 17,800 and 17,750 strikes, right? So let us say if you want to buy the option with a small capital, you can only buy the option because you are paying for premium, and you have to pay number of shares or number of units into premium. So that could be turning out to be a small amount in case you buy. But when you want to sell the option, definitely you have got a margin money which is much higher, right? So when you want to buy option and your view is very clear, you will make money in options only if your view about the market is very clear and it is accurate. Not only clear but accurate view. Otherwise, if the market does not go anywhere, upside or downside, if it goes opposite side, definitely you will lose your premium. But even if it goes slightly up due to time decay, due to theta decay, your premium will keep on going down. So if you want your premium not to go much down, that means you should be buying in the money options. Let's say if you're talking about the call, the market is at, let's say, 17,800. That means if you buy a call of 17,700, 17,600 or 17,500, right? These strike prices, let's say this strike price or these are the strike prices which are in the money. And of course, 17,800 is at the money option price. जिसको हम बोलते हैं ATM. So you should be buying ATM or ITM, but you would observe as deep you go inside the ITM, your premium will become expensive, right? that means you will need more money to buy the contract, buy the premium. In such a case, your theta decay will be less, and apart from that, your delta decay, in case if the market doesn't go anywhere, at least your premium will not decay as much as in the OTM. Now, OTM is out of the money. That means your strike price is above the spot price. Let's say if you buy option of 18,000 call. Now, the market is 225 point below, and you buy a call of 18,000 thinking the premium is only 60 rupees. So 60 into 50 is the amount you have to invest, right? So it's a very small premium. You might be considering, I'll make a good money from very less premium. Now what would happen? The probability of market moving 225 points to make your option in the money is a very less, maybe two, and you will not still make the money. You will make money only when your price of the stock goes above 18,600, because 18,060 rupees, because 60 rupees की प्रीमियम भी आपने दी हुई है, राइट? तो जैसे ही मार्केट 18,060 के ऊपर जाएगी तो ही आप प्रॉफिटेबल होगे ना, उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी बहुत 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 कम होगी. लेट अस से फॉर मंडे की बात कर रहे हैं, बट अगर आप 17,800 की प्रीमियम जो कि ऑलमोस्ट 153 रुपीज है, ये प्रीमियम आप लेके ट्रेड करते हो और मार्केट 100, सो आपका ब्रेक इवन किधर आएगा? आपका ब्रेक इवन आएगा 17,910 के आसपास, 925 के आसपास में, राइट? क्योंकि 25 पॉइंट डाउन साइड में है और 153 की आप प्रीमियम दे रहे हो, सो उसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी 18,000 आने से बेटर है, राइट? दैट इज वेयर वी से if you are buying the option, you should be buying in the money, although premium may be little expensive, but the probability will be more for that, right? Otherwise, option sellers will be making the money in this market, option buyers will not be making much money in the market. All right, and you need to learn the impact of delta, theta, vega, gamma on your premiums. Once you have understood that, it's a different world. It's just not as simple as buying the stocks. All right, let me take because so I hope I could reply to your question. Pramod ji ka sawal hai, your view on restaurant brand Asia, Burger King and Wipro for 1 month. Let me look at Wipro to start with. Okay. Now, if you see, unlike other IT companies, Wipro has not done as well as other IT companies have done. How many of you have observed that? So, what's the reason behind that? So, one of the reason behind that is, if you look at ROE, ROC wise, it's at par, right? ROE is almost 20 and ROC is 22% के ऊपर रहता है. Operating profit margin ठीक ठाक है, but the operating P at present is already 26. Now, that means the company is not making as much as the market is expecting. While as the industry P is 36, that means at least this company should be making more of OPM, operating profit margin, right? Although the free cash flow बहुत अच्छा है इसके पास में, right? But इसकी जो fair value है वो comparatively कम है, right? 584 की price पे it's already overpriced. Now, promoters have sold some shares in this. Profit margin 5 साल का 4.4% है. That's very poor for an IT company, right? 10 साल का profit margin 7.42%. Sales growth 5 साल की 4%. 10 year की sales growth not even 2 digit में 7.15%. Now, if you compare its peers along with it, then you would find they are doing much better in terms of these पैरामीटर्स, राइट। तो अगर किसी स्टॉक की वैल्यू आपको देखनी तो आप ये देखें कि वो स्टॉक में ग्रोथ कितनी हो रही, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी क्या है, whether the market is expecting this stock to go further up, and further up जाने के लिए उस स्टॉक में गैस तो होनी चाहिए, एनर्जी तो होनी चाहिए ताकि वो ऊपर जा पाए। As far as a shareholding pattern is concerned, shareholding pattern excellent है, but FIs and DIs की participation बहुत कम है, only 9% FIs and DIs are only 2%. DIs ने इनफैक्ट अगर आप देखोगे तो 2019 के कंपैरिजन में अपना ऑलमोस्ट 60% शेयर तो बेच दिया है, while FI ने कुछ खास बढ़ाया नहीं यहाँ पे, राइट। सो कुल मिला के आई डोंट सी विप्रो as good as contender as others are. If you want to look at IT companies, in my view, if you see SCL would be performing much better than this. इसके comparison में undervalued है, but if you think it can still go up, you have your own data to support it. मेरे ख्याल से consolidation के phase में है with a weakness here at this point of time, right now, unless until it is above, then so at this point of time, let me see what's the number, 583 पे ट्रेड हो रहा है, 590, so 615 के ऊपर इसमें आप लॉन्ग ट्रेड ले सकते हैं, until then it's a consolidation zone. From here your target then will be 715. Now you should also know market में अगर let's say stock market ऊपर जा रही है तो many a times you would see pharma as well as IT. These companies may not be moving that fast as fast other companies are moving, क्योंकि अगर मार्केट ऊपर जा रही है उसके लिए कई फैक्टर्स जिम्मेदार हैं, जिसमें से एक है डॉलर का नीचे आना, मतलब रुपीस को स्ट्रांग होना। एंड जैसे ही डॉलर वीक होती है रुपीस के कंपैरिजन में, क्योंकि आईटी एंड फार्मा कंपनीज के जो सबसे बड़े बेस हैं, वो जो कस्टमर्स हैं वो हैं अब्रॉड, इनकी अर्निंग जो होती है वो डॉलर में होती है, क्योंकि डॉलर कमजोर पड़ रहा है तो अर्निंग कमजोर होती है, इसके हिसाब से इनकी ग्रोथ बाकी के सेक्टर की ग्रोथ के बराबर नहीं होती। सो दिस फैक्टर आल्सो यू शुड कीप इन माइंड व्हेन यू आर थिंकिंग ऑफ टेकिंग एनी पोजीशन इन आईटी स्टॉक्स और फार्मा स्टॉक्स। सो दे मे बी ग्रोइंग बट दे मे बी ग्रोइंग स्लो। सो आई होप दिस पार्ट इज क्लियर फॉर यू। नाउ किस नाम से आपका लेट्स बर्गर किंग के नाम पे है क्या ये? बर्गर किंग के नाम पे तो नहीं। रेस्टोरेंट ब्रांड्स। ओके, सो क्या हमारे पास में डेटा सफिशिएंट है? बुक वैल्यू 12 रुपए की है, सो इट्स ट्रेडिंग 10 टाइम्स, आरओसी आरओई माइनस में है, ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट मार्जिन 7.5% 8% का है, इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो है नहीं, कैश रिच कंपनी है नहीं ये। Promoters have already sold 11.6%. Pramod, why you want to enter into this company? Promoter ने खुद अपना शेयर्स गिराया हुआ है, राइट? ओके, दूसरा लेट्स सी, it's not very old listing, right? From every aspect, Pramod, if you see, there is a lot of weakness in this. मतलब अगर मैं टेक्निकल फंडामेंटल डेटा बहुत ज्यादा है नहीं हमारे पास में, यहाँ पे शॉर्ट करने का था ये अपॉर्चुनिटी, बिकॉज वी हैड अ डेथ क्रॉस हियर, दिस काइंड ऑफ पैटर्न वेयर 200 days moving average is gone above 50 period moving average, that's called death cross. So selling का है. Now if you really want to take position here, take a position when you get a setup like this, 50 period का moving average 200 days के moving average के ऊपर जाता है. So उसके लिए ये जरूरी है 50 पीरियड मूविंग एवरेज ऊपर आए, एट द सेम टाइम 200 डेज का मूविंग एवरेज, जैसे प्राइस काफी टाइम से लो चल रही तो थोड़ा और नीचे आएगा। लेट्स से फॉर एन एग्जांपल इट माइट बी समवेयर अराउंड 108 और 109 के आसपास में शायद ये दोनों मूविंग एवरेज कन्वर्ज होंगे ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। आई कांट सी दैट राइट नाउ, एग्जैक्ट कैलकुलेशन नहीं है, बट एक रफ एस्टिमेशन बता रहा हूँ। सो वंस द प्राइस गोज within that range and the condition is your 50 period moving average goes above than that, then is the time to take position in that. और बहुत ज्यादा risk to reward ratio इसमें बहुत अच्छा नहीं होएगा। So मेरे हिसाब से if I have to trade this stock, I would rather wait before I take a position on this. काफी कमजोर लग रहा है ये 50 पीरियड मूविंग एवरेज वापस इसको धक्का देगा, राइट? कैश नहीं है इसके पास में. They are expected to give a good quarter, but expectation है. जब तक quarter on quarter and year on year performance होती नहीं है, you can't talk about the stock moving on other side, right? Now, if you look at I have certain questions which have been forwarded on WhatsApp to me. So IRB Infra, right? So that's one of the infra companies, and somebody wants to take a long position in IRB. Now, IRB is trading almost 2.2 times, which is fairly good, but its stock P already 54.8 का है. Now you would be wondering, industry का P 22.2, while as the stock का P already ज़्यादा. Infra sector में बहुत ज़्यादा इसके competition में लोग हैं नहीं, right? Toll collection का काम अच्छा चल रहा है, roads बन रहे हैं, tolls बढ़ रहे हैं, time to time tolls बढ़ते रहता, तो जो business है वो एक steady fast है, right? Now, if you look at operating profit margin, which is excellent, almost 46.1% का operating margin है, but interest coverage ratio says इसके पास में debt बहुत ज़्यादा है, 2.76 crore, 2.76 times of the market cap. इसकी जो equity है उसका 3.25 गुना इसने debt लेके रखा है, and it is very obvious because many a times they are operating on partnership, right? They make the projects, so a lot of cash flow goes out, they need to take a lot of debt. That's where you will see free cash flow इनके पास में minus में है. So that way it seems to be, that fact seems to be okay. Now, what is unfortunate in this company is the promoters have pledged almost 49.4% of their stake, which I don't really promote. एक तो promoter ने 24.4% stake बेच दिया है यहाँ पे, which is again a sign that promoter's skin is not much in the game, right? They are running away. Second, उनके पास में जो stock है भी उसका भी उन्होंने almost 50% रखा हुआ है pledge में. That's where I would not recommend you, although infra theme अच्छी चल रही है. The stock has capacity to go from 250 to 300, but still I will not take personally position in this stock. Now, how's the shareholding patterns? FIs have increased quarter after quarter, and DIs have decreased, right? So 12% से 5.5% में आ गए. Of course, public ने तो stake बढ़ाया है. So what is there with the DIs? I have no clue. What is the information? What FIs are seeing? I do not have any clue about it. 22% में से they came down to 14, 15, 13%, and then December quarter they have taken a huge position. Maybe शायद bulk deal हुई है. कोई एक बड़ा FI यहाँ पे बैठा हुआ है. कौन बैठा है? गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सिंगापुर बैठी है. ये Bricks Layer Investment PT, again a Singapore-based company. Sintra Investment Private BV. BV is, I think, abbreviation for German or some European countries where limited is shown like that. Exactly, I've forgotten. Dealt with these companies. So these are the companies which have recently taken the shares in bulk, right? So that's what is the FI stake increment. Otherwise, बाकी के जो FIs हैं बड़े मतलब और बाकी है ही नहीं, in fact अगर आप देखोगे तो, right? So again, you need to do a little like homework on this. But instead of this toll collection, again I would say then KNR is much better. Although थोड़ा bad news में आया था, prices काफी impact हुए हैं. इनकम टैक्स की रेड हुई थी इनके यहाँ पे हैदराबाद और पूरा तेलंगाना में इनके ऑफिसेज में, तो वो वजह से थोड़ा प्राइस में गिरावट आई यहाँ पे. Otherwise, you would see 344 to 87. There is a good, upside of almost 60 points. 60 points on the upside. Almost you can say 25% की भी ग्रोथ अगर आपको मिलती है स्विंग ट्रेड्स में, तो दैट विल बी बेटर. एंड डेटा पर्सपेक्टिव से ये मेरे को IRB से कहीं अच्छा दिख रहा है। इसमें अगर आप स्टॉक का P देखेंगे तो भी अंडरवैल्यूड दिख रहा है। ROE ROC भी अगर आप देखेंगे 20% प्लस का है। ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट मार्जिन ठीक ठाक है। 51.5% प्रोमोटर के पास में है। There's no pledge, no promoters are not selling their stake. इनफैक्ट अगर इसके होल्डिंग पैटर्न में देखें, promoters have rather in the past, of course from 2021 June onwards they have reduced the stake, but more or less 19 से बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है इसमें, राइट? FIs 3% थे, FIs ने बढ़ा दिया, DIs ने 30% था, 33% कर दिया. So this sounds to be much better stock in comparison with IRB if you are considering to be on infrastructure projects, right? So that's one. Let me take Malappa Angadi ji ka sawal hai. Angel 1 and DMAT and Relaxo at current market price. Angel 1 Limited. Let's see Angel 1. 157 का book value, so more than 10 times trade कर रहा है. So trading more than 10 times, already expensive zone में है वो. If you see from the fair value perspective, right? Again, it is costlier than it's a fair value. Fair value could be somewhere around 600 rupees. If you see from the P perspective, it's at par with the industry P. So उधर growth का बहुत ज़्यादा chance नहीं दिख रहा है. Obviously, when this kind of situation happens, promoters also take opportunity to sell their stocks at best possible price. जैसे अभी बाबा रामदेव ने किया Friday को, right? So that way it is expensive. If you see from the fundamental perspective also, the free cash flow is in -1. Now this is a broker, right? Broker का cash flow minus में होने का क्या कारण होना चाहिए? It's a cash generating machinery. It should be always in positive. If you see from the chart perspective, definitely the chart is looking, it looks it is already in the breakout. Now, if you see from the breakout perspective, then the price could move towards 2000 rupees as well. But then that will be more of a speculative. It will not be a quality, or it would not be a value buying. So as an investor, I always look at value buying perspective. If for some or other reason I have to take interest in this stock, I wouldn't go to buy it above $1000, right? So 1000 rupees के आसपास में अगर आपको stock नीचे correction में मिलता है, then watch it out. That would be your good bargain to buy. Now look at stakeholders, right? Promoters 44%, now they are 44.68, so almost 1% promoters have already sold. FIIs have increased marginally, 1% बढ़ाया है. DIs ने 8.72 से थोड़ा percentage कम कर दिया है. And the public is nuts, 42% it is maintaining. So I always think and see it that the participation of DIs and FIs must be good for any stock price to sustain and grow its stock price. Speculative, mostly you would see, अगर आप public में देखोगे तो कोई ऐसा बड़ा नाम नहीं आएगा जो कि shareholders में होएगा. So ठीक है. These are International Finance Corporation, 8%, 5%, Gandhi, Nitin Shah, Bharat Shah, Bela, Mukesh Gandhi. I think these are the family members who are owning this. Maybe let's see who are the promoters. Thakkars, Magnanis, Thakkars, Chandwanis, Thakkars. Okay. So this looks more of a Thakkar family company, while as your public here seems to be some Gandhi and Shah. Now you need to find out the relation between them so that you understand what business you are entering into. Look at the integrity of it, and then see the future prospect. मेरे ख्याल से it's already expensive at this point of time. Right. Relaxo. Right, now look at Relaxo. Relaxo is making footwears. 65 rupees का stock है. So let's say almost 20 times के आसपास में trade कर रहा है. 26 ROC and ROE excellent. Now only thing is the stock P 107 पे trade कर रहा है while the industry is at 34%, right? Expensive stock है. Whenever you are trying to get into the expensive stock, always look at whether you are able to buy it in a correction or you are buying it at a peak. So at this point of time, it seems to be more or less close to its 50 and 200 days moving averages, right? So 1190 के ऊपर, if it sustains for a few days, let's say सीधे 1200 पकड़ो. Now we're talking about momentum investment or momentum trading. If you're looking at a 5-year period, definitely you are looking at an investment. For 5 years, I would love to buy a company at a undervalued rate. But if you are looking at buying a momentum company, then definitely 1200 rupees or above. If the price sustains for a few days, then you can take a position and your target would be then almost 1450 rupees. Watch out, risk to reward ratio in my view may not be that great at this point of time. If you want to buy this company at a good price, then 850 might be a good price to buy. Will that come to that price to buy? Definitely you need to wait for the time when it comes down. Will it come? Yes, over a period of time, some or other event will happen. It will come. Personally, I would wait for that time if I want to buy a company like this. If I presume it is expensive based upon the fundamentals, then definitely I would, like to buy at much lesser price as a value buyer. All right. I hope your question is answered on that front. The last stock I'll take is a Union Bank that has come from my other source. Okay, so Union Bank, if you look at 94 rupees book value, available almost at half the rate, 44 rupees, half se bhi niche hai, right? Stock P is around 6, industry P is 9. ROC is very poor, almost 6 ke aspas mein. Debt to equity ratio is high, 15 for bank generally it is high, but I would prefer 7.5. It is having 2 times more than my criteria. What else? Operating profit margins are again poor, 46% operating profit margin, again not a very good scenario to be in. If you see from the fair value perspective, the fair value of this stock might be somewhere around 140, 145. Roughly 150 पकड़ लो, but सरकारी company है, it may not come there immediately. It would take time to move upside, right? If you see from the structure, it is in a bullish structure right now. Your first target could be definitely around 50 rupees, right? So 44 से 6 point ऊपर, more than 10-12% आपको यहाँ मिल जाएगा, and your next target should be 55 rupees. So for that you can trade definitely. Always look at shareholding patterns, whether the big players are buying it or they are selling it, right? Because mostly you will see in media, people will give you a call, buy. Now, promoters have increased their position, 83.49. FIs have sold, DIs have reduced their position to half, and public has also not increased. Promoter में President of India है, तो President of India ने ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा stock खरीदा है. For what reason? Now, one could be उनको इसको merge करना है किसी stock के साथ में, किसी और company के साथ में, or they might have some other plan, right? So if you can hold for a longer period of time, definitely it could be one company which can give you good return. So, and banking में, Bank Nifty is yet to come up. There is a good gap. अगर मैं बात करूँ, from the all-time high, the Bank Nifty still has almost 11% scope to go up, right? So how will it go unless until the banking stocks which are in Bank Nifty Unless until they go up, Bank Nifty cannot come up, right? So in my view, this could also be a story what has played in case of Bank of Baroda, the call which we gave, I think 7-8 months back, and it has given almost 100% return. So that way you can also look at this stock. But again, Sarkari company you will need to give it time to grow. It will not be overnight story like SDFC and other banks, right? All right, friends. So it's a time to. There are a few more questions left out, but I'll definitely take those questions on next Saturday. My apologies for coming late on today's show because of the electric spark, and definitely that will be taken care. And rest of your questions I'll take in on next Saturday. All right. Good night. Take care. Bye bye. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.